Welcome to the Week 10 recap, fam. We are raring and ready to go. I got my partner Zach over here. What's
Hola.
happening? Look at
Hola.
you. Look, man, you're looking so spiffy with the background and the matching, hoodie. And Sam would
Thank
say
you.
that you're dripping. That's what he would
Yeah,
say.
I am dripping. I'm something like the drip god, you know what I mean?
See, I don't even know what that means. So no, I don't.
Uh,
It's sad, but it's funny because I feel like we have Crips and Bloods right now. I'm wearing all red, and you
I
got some
didn't
blue
mention
on.
anything, but yeah, you're in all red and I'm in all blue. We might have to fight.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's take this outside right now. Sorry, I'm just turning that off. Just turning my background light off because we're professional here.
Yeah,
Got to
yeah.
keep it professional. One of the cool things that we did, just so everybody knows, we will no longer get cut off at the end of our podcasting. So while it may go a little bit longer, potentially, well, I guess it will, but we're going to still try to keep it brief. As best we can. We've been running to that 35, 40-minute mark every time. We'll probably be around the 45-minute mark, is my assumption. But good news is it won't just freaking automatically cut us off, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So, anyways, you all know how this rolls. We start with our ass whooping of the week. And this week it was Allison whooping Tyler's ass. She beat him by almost 50 points. It was like 49 and a half points she whooped him by. I don't know if you noted anything in that game that put her way ahead of him or kept him down. He had a rough
He
week.
had a pretty rough week, I think is just what it was. But I mean, uh yeah, he had a rough week. I think he scored 80 something points.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a
87.
pretty rough week. Yeah, it's a pretty rough week, no matter how you slice it. I mean, granted, her putting up 140 something was also pretty good,
Yeah, I
but
think she was just shy of 140. She was at like 136 or 137. I think I have 137 down here
yeah, yeah,
for
I know it was
that.
close to that.
I mean,
Yeah,
he had Jonathan Taylor went off. It was good to see Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, as a Colts fan, good to see him back in action and doing well. Mostert had a good game, even though he had fewer touches than Jeff Wilson. I mean, Mostert still was able to put up close to 20 points.
right. I
So
was going to
that's
mention
nice.
that since me and him had a trade for Mostert. Mostert still did okay. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And it looks like Jeff Wilson is kind of taking the lead in that backfield already, like right away, which is kind of crazy. But they're using them both, so to me, it seems like next game could be the opposite, right? It could be Mostert touching the ball more than Jeff Wilson, and I think they're probably gonna try to do that on purpose, right? It's like you want to keep if you have two good backs like that, you're trying to keep them healthy.
yeah. I mean, I think you're seeing a lot of teams do that. I think you're
Yeah,
seeing a lot of teams run these two backs systems now where yeah, one might be better than the other, but both of them are going to get pretty close to the same amount of carries. It's just a matter of which one's going to catch a couple passes or run the ball in the end zone, at the goal line.
yeah, that's very true,
That's
and I
like
think
what they did to Jonathan Taylor this week. I mean, I know he had a good game, but I'm pretty sure there was a drive where he got it to like the 2 yard line, and then didn't it wasn't Matt Ryan sneak it in or something? I think didn't he have a
I don't get to
Sorry.
watch the Colts game, so unfortunately, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that was one of the touchdowns. Matt Ryan ran a touchdown in from like the 2 yard line quarterback sneak because Jonathan Taylor got the ball all the way down there.
Didn't Matt Ryan also run in like a 39-yard touchdown?
He didn't score a touchdown on that, no, but he did.
Oh,
Yes, he had like a 40-yard run. Yes, that.
amazing. He's so old.
I
It
mean, the
probably,
Raiders got to be embarrassed. I mean, they really do. Obviously I love the Colts and everything, but they played terrible.
yeah, I'm surprised they have 2 wins right now. It's one of those where, and Josh Jacobs is good. I mean, he's playing well, but and even Adams, I think had a good game, but
What happened to Hunter Renfro? I know he's been hurt a couple games, but I just feel like Josh McDaniels ruined that team. I mean, I don't
uh,
know.
sounds about what he does. I'm
I
glad
know
he
they've
did.
had some injuries. I mean, Darren Waller's been basically out,
Yeah,
and I know Hunter Renfro missed a game or two or something like that, but
but he's on IR now too. I think Renfro's on IR, and Waller is on IR. So yeah, a lot of
yeah.
stuff going on with that. But I know we're getting a little bit away from the actual game. But I
Yep,
know,
yep.
but for Tyler, he did. I mean, Brady wasn't terrible as a backup, like coming in. He I had like 17 or 18 points. It's not awful
Yeah.
for you, but nobody else on his team did well. Whereas, yeah, Allison, I mean, she still has good players. I mean, Saquon came in and had 30 points. Like I said, Devontae Adams had a good game, and Christian
Yeah.
Kirk went off. Christian Kirk went off for almost 30 points. He had a couple touchdowns and a big
Well,
game against Kansas
I'm
City.
looking over again. Yeah, she had a huge game from Christian Kirk. That was a big one. And then a big game from Saquon. Saquon had 30, and then not to mention Tyler had two basically zeros. Taysom Hill got him 0.7, which sorry, Tyler.
Yeah,
And Alec Pierce got him 0-0. But I guess I'll mention it now since he's one of those people that I'm seeing right now. So I meant to mention this on the last podcast and we got cut off. Just so everyone knows, I'm skipping way far ahead, but just so everyone knows, one of the transactions that everyone should be looking at is the Jets defense has been in free agency in our league, and they're number 5 in the NFL. They're basically averaging 10 points a game.
yeah.
Like,
They're a good defense.
yeah, they've done well. I mean, and I'm guilty of it as well. I've been I don't know what just happened there, but
Hit mute.
I've been flopping defenses around a bunch too, but the Jets defense should be on everybody's list. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I'd agree with that. And I think even Allison chose a good streaming defense this week with the Giants. I mean, the Jets were, I think, on bye this past week, but
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I just say it also because I saw a couple teams have two defenses. Like you really don't want to have two defenses at any point. I mean,
it's rare, but I would say in like Allison's instance, because I did the same thing. Patriots are number one defense. I'm not dropping them. Like I'm sorry,
oh yeah,
I'm not dropping
No,
them.
in that instance, yes, but I'm saying the couple people that I
Yeah,
saw that have it's not that big
yeah,
of a difference.
I would
So,
agree. I mean, I have a 49ers, which I think there's a great defense right now, so like I'm keeping them. But actually, one I feel bad for is like Denver. If you have Denver's D, like that's an awesome defense.
yeah,
They showed a stat that if Denver had just scored 18 points every game, they'd be like 8-1 right now or 8-2. That's just crazy.
that's disgusting.
I know it's horrible.
Anyway, sorry, yeah, I got us way off. You might want to bring us back to track, but yeah,
but yes, the ass whooping of the week was Allison on top of Tyler. She kicked his ass.
Yeah.
So sorry, Tyler. Yes, you had a couple duds or a few duds
Yes.
In there, but you'll bounce back. He's got some players coming back this week as well, so that'll be good. But our nail biter of the week actually came down to last night, and that was an interesting matchup. And I can't remember. I think Bob was still projected to lose by a couple points going into last night. And really, but with Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith going, and they had just Antonio Gibson, you think if Jalen Hurts goes off, I mean, which he's known to do, I mean that's Bob's game at that point. But Antonio Gibson stealed it. He played well. He got him 16 points, and Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith didn't do bad. Like they weren't terrible. Jalen got him 23. Devonta got him on 13, I think. I mean, it's not awful. But just not enough to really get him over the hump. I don't know if you saw anything else in that matchup.
I mean, the only thing I saw is, and I wrote it down and I mentioned it. Defense. He could have had a different defense. I think his defense got him 3 points, if I remember correctly. And I wrote down Vegas defense, so they must have done well against the Colts. I don't remember. I didn't write down what their score was.
Yeah, we had a couple.
But and the Jets were there too, and the Jets scored 10. So,
Did the Jets play this week?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think they run by. Pretty
Or
sure they
maybe
run
that's
by.
why that's why they were out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
they're
their
on
last
bye
game.
this week.
Yeah, their last game was 10. Okay. Well, even still, I wrote down Vegas. Vegas's defense did well
Yeah. But there's still teams
against us.
that are always out there that can do it. I mean, Allison showed it she picked up the Giants. They got her
Or
8
no, I
8
wrote
points.
sorry, I wrote it down because he had Vegas's defense that got him 0.
Oh, got it. Yes.
Vegas got him 0.
But he's
I
looking. He's probably looking at it from the perspective of the Colts fucking suck.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I don't think anyone knew Matt Ryan was starting. Did anybody know that?
No, I didn't know that at all. So
I never heard reports of it or anything, and I'm here. I'm like pretty up on it. So.
But I can't fault him for if you didn't know Matt Ryan was going to play, like you're looking at Sam Ellinger as being a guy, the quarterback for the Colts at the time, who's going to be turnover prone. I mean, it's a young player, so you think that anyway. So I can't blame him. But you're right; it's these little tiny decisions. Like that's what costs a victory, right?
Yeah.
And with that, I'm actually going to jump to another game. It's not in line, but I think it leads right into it. I mean, I beat Kyle by like 21 points. And to me, it's all because he didn't have a quarterback. Now, there weren't any out there, but it literally look at it this way. If he'd have picked up Trevor Lawrence and played him, he beats me by half a point.
Yeah.
That's all he needed. If he picks him up,
Yeah.
and he was the number one guy on waivers, if Kyle picks him up and plays him, he wins. And all the reports were saying that Kyler wasn't going to play. That he was leaning towards not playing. And if you let that game go to when the game is airing, you don't have many options at that point. So you do have to make these choices, and it's tough because he even said, hey, I didn't really have much of a choice. Mariota had already played, which I get. But at that point, once you try to go to that afternoon game, you didn't have many options, and it's just going to be tough. So that really was, I think, what led ultimately to the victory for me, because otherwise, I mean, I only won by, 21, which is what Kyler Murray could put up and what Lawrence put up 22. So,
the only thing I was going to say about that, and real quick, I do want to backtrack 1 second, and I just want to say also congratulations to Casey for winning a game. They were kind of struggling, They were kind of struggling, and they keep putting up pretty decent points, even this week with 120, But anyways, back to the Kyle thing and the quarterback and all that. Yeah, it's I understand things happen, and he was in a bad position when it all came down to it. But definitely let's try to make sure that we definitely set rosters, because it makes a difference. It gave you, I'm not saying that you wouldn't have won or anything, who knows that he would have picked up Trevor Lawrence or anything like that, but it makes a difference. And, he could have beat you and then me and you are tied. You know what I mean? Instead of you being a game ahead. Hey, we got a special guest.
We do. Oh my gosh.
We got a special guest.
We do have a special guest.
Hi, Tage.
Yeah. Can you hear him?
Hi.
Yeah.
I miss you.
Did you hear him? He said, I miss you. Yeah, you see Uncle Zach on the screen?
I love you. Bye.
Nice. Love you, Tage. You say
night.
Good night. You going night? I love you. Yeah. Oh, Catherine. I didn't warm Catherine up. You want me to warm her up now? Oh my gosh. This is
Hi.
Okay, there we go. Allison's got it. That's all right. Allison's coming along too. Hello, everybody. But yes, it is important that we set a lineup and have it in.
Yeah.
And I don't blame, like I said, I don't blame him. I think he was hoping Kyler was going to play, but he ultimately didn't.
Yeah.
But
well,
one thing,
I was a little late on that, but myself, I didn't know either. I was watching that game, and I'm like, where's Matthew Stafford? Where's Kyler Murray? And I'm like, I didn't even know either one of them were not playing. Like,
yeah, no, well, they kind of talked about Matt Stafford not playing, and Kyler. It was interesting.
Zach.
Yeah, hi Zach.
Hi.
It was kind of interesting that Kyler didn't play, and I mean, I got lucky that Allen did play. I mean,
Yeah.
he did pretty well. Yeah. All right. Hey, good night. I'll let you go. She's waving at you. But yeah, what I was gonna actually just add into that. Paris Campbell, like to me, he's a legit thing right now.
Yeah.
Especially with Matt Ryan and with Naeem Hines gone. You know, for me, like Paris Campbell's played well. He was on Kyle's bench. I don't blame him for that. Like I think that you don't know what's happening there, especially
Right.
when you think it's going to be Ellinger and then all of a sudden it's Matt Ryan. But Kyle might have himself a nice little role player moving
Hmm.
forward to get 10, 12 points a game. And
Yeah.
that's good for a
Yeah.
receiver. It's a role player type of receiver for you. So we'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, it's never been about Paris Campbell not being good.
Yeah. It's always been about his health. That's true.
Yeah. It's
Very
about can
true.
he keep playing? So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Which he had kind of ate into Alec Pierce's stuff. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think this is a struggle week for both Kyle and I. I mean, I didn't DeAndre Swift, I don't know what to do with him. It's like at the point now where I'm like, do I just bench him and wait till he does well? Because he just doesn't get the ball enough. But he's an electric player that when he does get the ball, he can do something with it. So it's just
Right.
very, very odd right now. So I don't
Yeah.
know what to do with that. And I've definitely hurt myself with my trades. I haven't helped myself.
I
So
I mean, you might laugh at me because I know you guys all think I swindled some stuff, but I mean, I'm nervous about mine. I mean, I know I have a stud starting lineup, but if someone goes down, I'm basically done for the season because I've risked it for the starting lineup.
yeah, it feels that way with my team as well. I can feel you there. Whereas some others, I see some good depth on it that I'm like jealous.
Oh yeah,
I'm jealous of
yeah.
now.
When I look at other people's teams, my depth is nothing like other people's teams. I
Yeah,
don't have I don't have the depth.
and actually, one of them we're going to get into the game. Let's get into this one now.
Yeah.
We have Omaha Colt Fins. So Andy scoring 158, high score of the week. Way to go,
Congratulations.
Andy!
Hey, he gets some extra spending money. Oh, here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's his second one of the year. So he's now got $20 at least back.
$20. Jeez, what are you gonna do with all that money? Oh my god.
Oh, man, a 20 twin. But yeah, so he scored 158, which is the highest score of the week. Congrats again. To suck a dick is 120. I think he was around 120 if I'm not mistaken. No, he was at 113. I could have even beaten Sam this week. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of Sam kicking my ass, I could have beat him that I won this week.
Yeah.
But Andy's team played well, and I mentioned that because of depth, because I actually look at both of those teams as actually having some definite wide receiver depth on their rosters
Yeah.
right now. But dude, huge games. I mean, Fields, that man is just a dominating right now.
Yeah, he looks good. I don't what geez. I
Yeah.
wonder I wonder what it would look like if you actually had wide receivers.
Yeah, right. I know the Bears could definitely use it, and would they use it as much? I don't know. But Justin Jefferson, one of the greatest catches I've ever freaking seen. That was amazing, and
That
he
was
had a great
a
game.
that was a crazy game. That
You
was a
know,
crazy game.
and watching that game, he makes Kirk Cousins, their quarterback, look good. There were some throws where you can tell Kirk Cousins just knows that Justin Jefferson is going to make the play. I think about the play that came after that, where they got him to the 2 yard line. That throw that he makes, if you watch Justin Jefferson, he fakes the guy like the ball's coming towards the sideline when really it was coming to his back right shoulder, and
Mm-hmm.
the guy goes for it. He like goes for and it's a free catch for Justin Jefferson. And I think that was a moment where I realized like the catch before was amazing, but what he just did to have the awareness to fake somebody to think it's one way and it's just the other way. And I'm like, that was all Justin Jefferson because that guy could have easily picked that off if he's looking at it.
Yeah.
That was a good game.
Justin Jefferson is a stud. Justin Jefferson is a stud.
Yeah.
That kid's real good. he's going to be good for years.
Yeah, he
I
was
actually feel kind of bad for him because I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, Kirk Cousins probably ain't playing like the way he does for maybe 2 or 3 more years. I mean, he's
maybe.
getting older. I know Kirk Cousins, he's like got to be 32, 33, something.
Yeah. These guys are making it longer. These quarterbacks are, but you're right. I mean, it's tough to play at that kind of level, especially with a talent like Justin Jefferson that you feel like it just keeps getting better.
Right.
But even Amon-Ra St. Brown, he had a good game. I mean, he had almost 20 points in the
Mm-hmm.
matchup. I mean, really, I think Andy's wide receivers kind of led him in this matchup. But Jeff Wilson, great pickup, and that's been huge.
Yeah.
Understandable. Somebody dropped Jeff Wilson before, I guess. I don't know why you would drop him, but because CMC is known to get hurt. But still, oh, did you drop him? you idiot!
Yes.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, he did well. One thing I know about Sam's team this week, he had no player over 20 points. Like he actually had good like role player add to the team performances from
Yeah.
everybody, and you always
Yeah.
need at least one or two guys to go off to really make it a good game for you.
Yeah.
And AJ Brown got hurt. I didn't realize that he like tweaked his ankle or something in that game and didn't really
Yeah.
do
They're
much.
saying that they're not real sure what's going on with him. That's kind of up in the air. So,
Yeah, we'll get into that when we talk about injuries, I guess, because I did notate him. But
yeah.
last one we'll talk about is your matchup. You put a little bit of a spanking on Louis, 144.5 to 110. That's a pretty good butt whooping right there.
Yeah. All I can say is I hope that happens every week now. I mean, like I said, I like my starting lineup. I love it, but that's what I have. I do like that a lot of my players have already had buys as well, so I don't think I have to worry about that very much. So,
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes. We'll see
that's
how it goes.
that's big too. No, it's interesting you say that because that's a
Yeah,
big deal for the bye weeks. I mean, when you make
yeah,
trades, for those of you moving forward, making trades or looking at it, look at bye weeks because if you're trading away
mhm,
somebody who's already passed their bye week for someone who
yeah,
hasn't had their bye week yet, you're getting one less game.
yes,
You're in a sense getting penalized twice,
yeah,
and that other person is kind of is not taking on that penalty. So it's something to always think about when you're doing that. But Mahomes had a great game. Kelsey's going to always be solid. He's always going to be up there in 15 to 20 point land. I mean, he's just a really good tight end.
hmm,
And your running backs all did well. I mean, you had
yeah.
a nice grouping of running
Well,
backs that played well.
except Miles Sanders, but I didn't really need him to do much. I mean,
Yeah, agreed.
but yeah,
He only got you 8 points, which is rough, but everybody else did really well
yeah,
for you. Whereas
yeah.
for Louis, it's interesting because Geno Smith had a solid game. I mean, that's a shoot.
I was nervous, to be quite honest with you, when I saw, Gino had a good game because that was the early game. And
Foreman
uh
Foreman had a good game
and
too on
Foreman,
Thursday.
yeah, Foreman putting up 26, I'm like, oh man. But by the time the night game came, I knew what I was down and all the players I had left. I mean, I felt pretty good. I
Yeah,
think I was down like 12 points or maybe 22 points. I think 12 or 22 or something, but I still had McCaffrey, Miles Sanders, and Robinson. So,
yeah,
I felt like I was going to be just fine.
yeah. And you did. Obviously, you were fine
Yeah.
for all that. So you guys,
Yeah.
your team
Like I
crushed
said, I
them.
just hope I can put that up every week. Yeah. I just hope I can put that up every week.
I hope you don't. So I'm just going to say that. I'm coming from a different
Yeah.
perspective that I don't want you to do as
Mhm.
well. Probably because my team's on a downturn. I just feel like ever since I started making these trades, it just is not working out. I'm not wheeling and dealing very well. Um,
Yeah.
but one of the things, I
Well,
know.
and that's good that other people see the struggle as well from, all of us that have done this and, you know, done this before, we got all this experience doing it. And, you know, still in all right now, number one in our league is Allison, who's never done this.
Yeah, I know, and she's killing it. It's just funny because she'll like
Yeah.
talk to me about stuff, and I try my best to not like share advice with her. But it's really interesting to hear, especially this week. I'm playing her, like, but to hear like her going through it in her mind, like it's actually pretty cool to like listen to her going through it and talking through different stats or going through, you know, what's happened lately with this defense or with this player. Is this
Right.
worth it? You know, it's, you know, there's a lot, you know, stuff that she talks through, and like she's into it. So that's the other interesting part. Is like she's never done it, but she's into it and like wants to be good at it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. She's starting to listen to podcasts now about fantasy football as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's fun.
yeah, and I think that also helps. I think listening, honestly, just that's what it took me. It took me a while just like listen to different podcasts and things to understand a little bit more about strategy and some things that I
Yeah.
should think about and how it should work. Because otherwise, like, I don't like boom or bust type of things, but realizing that that's an important part to
Yeah.
a team, you know.
Yeah.
Look at Sam this week is a perfect example. Like if you just have consistent players, you're going to get, you know, the week that Sam had,
Yeah.
which is a lot of good performances of. I mean, I think most of his players were like around 15 points, like, and that's not bad, but you still need a player that goes for 25, 30, right? You
Yeah.
need you
Yeah.
need that to happen to get you victories. But
Absolutely.
this was actually a crazy week of injuries.
Yeah. Yes, it
Um,
was.
I've noted a lot of injuries actually.
Yeah, I've got a bunch wrote down.
What do you have? Because I mean I have this laundry list here.
I mean, I got Jerry Judy obviously hurt
Yep,
again.
yep,
Um, and they're right now it's mum, like nothing, no word on what's going on.
yeah,
You got Herbert from the Bears, which I know Andy has. Um, and I'm not sure what's going on there. I just saw that he was on there. Juju had a concussion. Juju Smith Schuster, he had a concussion. I'm not sure who has him, maybe Louis, I think. And we know how those have been going. That means he's probably out this week. So Everett, the tight end from the Chargers, Cooper Kupp, obviously a big one, and I think I just saw that it sounds like he's having surgery. I might have
yeah.
just seen that. So
I mean,
that's a huge loss for
for
I
Casey,
think it's Casey and Sam,
yeah,
which
that's
I tried to trade them for Cooper Kupp, and thank God that I didn't get him.
yeah,
and and then Fournette with a hit, and
yep.
who knows what that's all about, but don't even know that that matters anyway. I mean, later on, I have mentioned about, you know, one of the pickups of the week was who was it? Was it Andy? I forget who it was.
We got Rashad
Somebody,
White.
yeah, that picked up
Yeah,
Rashad White.
Andy
It
did.
was Andy. Yeah,
Yep.
Andy. Yeah, that's going to be a big pickup. That kid looks pretty good. That kid looks pretty good.
Yeah, I like Rashad White. I have him in another league with that same intention of he's going to take over a backfield, I think. And you know, you mentioned a few of them. I mean, yeah. So Zach Ertz is out for the season, right? I
Yeah,
know Alice is really sad about that. That's her favorite
yeah,
player. So
yeah.
he's out for the season, which I don't know if do you think that opens up Trey McBride to be an actual viable tight end?
I don't know. I mean, I think, I think they're just targeting DeAndre Hopkins and Rondell Moore a lot. I think
Yeah,
that's what's going on there. I mean, I think that kid might get some looks. You know, I
yeah. He's
don't
got.
know
Well, he
much.
has to now.
I don't know much about him, but I mean, some of the talking heads are talking about that he's pretty good.
Well, just so everybody's was aware, he's a rookie tight end for the Arizona Cardinals. He was the number one tight end drafted this year. So they obviously have some stock in him. If you're the number one tight end drafted, you're that for a reason. He just hasn't gotten much playing time. So it'll be interesting to see if they use him because he's a much different player than Ertz. He's a more athletic player than Zach Ertz is. Zach Ertz is a little bit older guy, but good possession receiver. So yeah, it will be interesting to see what if that actually happens. I just wanted to throw that out because just thinking about it. But yeah, Cooper Kupp went on IR because of that surgery. You had, even for the Colts defense, man, Shaquille Leonard out for the season. He had successful surgery, but he's now out for the season. So the Colts D took a huge hit. With that one. So I don't know how viable they are.
Yeah, I didn't mention AJ Brown.
Yeah, AJ Brown. I know we talked about him earlier in our in our conversation, but who knows what it is? I mean, it sounds like it's a sprained ankle, but we don't know how intense that is, or if it's because even with Jerry Jeudy, they were calling it a mild ankle sprain. Does that mean he plays this week? You don't know, and even if he does, is he going to be close to 100% or not? Another one, and I don't remember if you mentioned this, but Khalil Herbert went on IR.
I did.
Okay, because I think, and to me, that's helpful for Andy. It doesn't hurt him, and it helps because he has Herbert and
Montgomery.
Yeah, and he had Justin Fields too, so he's got the rushing attack for the Bears. He chose Bears rushing is what he's chosen. But yeah, I think it's more helpful.
Smart play.
Yeah, agreed. So I think you covered all of them that I had, and we'll see about Dallas Goedert and what his shoulder injury looks like.
I didn't mention Goddard. Yeah, I did not mention Goddard.
And that's another one on Andy's team where they're talking. It sounds like multiple weeks that he might be out with a shoulder injury, but Andy has Pat Freiermuth, the tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's a good player to have. I think. I mean, he's just going to be a solid. Chase Claypool now gone.
I have him in another league.
Yeah, and he's actually a good tight end. He's been a good tight end for the most part this year. He has a couple games where he's gone to sleep, but he's exactly. He's not going to do anything amazing for you, but he's usually getting you 4 or 5 catches for 50 yards. I mean, I'll take that for my tight end every time.
Yeah.
I wish I could get that for my tight ends every time. I don't know. It was a rough one this week at tight end for me. So, but those are some of the injuries. So, when you think about those injuries, that's when we have to start to think about, free agency and do we need to pick up somebody that's on waivers. So I'm going to run through this like I do each week now, which is I'll start with the position and we'll go down the positions. Quarterback, is there anybody in the QB zone that you're
I'll be honest with you. I only wrote a few names down for each position just because I feel like we're so deep into the season now that you should have, especially, quarterback here. So all I have wrote down is, Taylor Heineke. He's Washington's quarterback. Unless you need somebody, I wouldn't bother with them. But if you need to pick up someone real quick, like in the instance of Kyle or whatever from injuries, he's a good one. And I just dropped Aaron Rodgers for everybody. I'm not saying that he's worthy of pickup. He's been mediocre at best, but he had a pretty good week this week. And maybe they catch fire. Maybe they look like Green Bay like normal. But if someone's looking for a sleeper quarterback, I think Rodgers would be it. But I'm rolling the dice that Patrick Mahomes stays healthy, and then I picked up my guy. So
I know. I noticed you picked up your guy. You love a good massage parlor.
I like massages, man. I love massages.
But yeah, I notated Aaron Rodgers as well. That was the number one guy that I put down ahead of Heineke, and I think it's more of the matchup because Aaron Rodgers, they play Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans this week, and they're one of the worst teams in the league against the pass.
Right.
And so that's why I put him down.
Yeah.
Not that he has great weapons around him, but like Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's going against Las Vegas, but I still don't want to touch him. Las Vegas is like the worst against the pass, but I still can't touch Russell Wilson, and especially if Jerry Jeudy is also going to be out. That's one fewer weapon that Russell has to play with. So I agree. I think you put down the two that I would think about, because I even think with Houston, that's who Heineke plays. They're rated as a top defense against the pass, but it's not. But but it's not because people can't pass against them. It's that they run the
Right. They
ball.
run the ball.
Yeah, so like the metrics and the numbers are skewed to me in that sense because really they don't have a great defense all around. And so I
Right.
think if there's a close game, Heineke's going to throw the ball, and so I think you've given two good options there at quarterback. What about running back? Anybody that you notated there?
Running back again. Pacheco.
Yep.
It looks like he's going to be like the starter. That's what I'm hearing. Again, that's that Kansas City offense. I mean, I'm relying a lot on it. But he's out there. Maybe he won't be out there after this week. Who knows? I don't know.
I don't know.
But then I also mentioned McKinnon as well, which is a Kansas City running back.
Yeah.
It looks like he's going to get some touches as well. So again, everyone, if you're by now, you should be watching these games. They're just getting a lot of touches. Is basically which one is going to get those touches that week. So then I also notated Latavius Murray. I think they're just going to run the ball a little bit. I mean, again, Russell Wilson ain't looking hot. So and then I will be dropping Henderson Jr. I have a trade coming to me that I'm dropping Henderson Jr. So he'll be out there as well.
No thanks. I'm okay. I have him.
Just saying. I'm saying for anyone else, he'll be out there.
Darrell Henderson Jr., running back for the Los Angeles Rams, has been a really tough. Like I've been holding on to him in other leagues for no effing reason. Well, the reason is you think at some point it's gonna. I mean, they want to run the ball, they just can't, and they're awful. So I think that's a tough one. One I'm going to throw out there is I agree with you. I wrote down Pacheco and I wrote down McKinnon, just the Kansas City backfield. Take a stab at it, especially if you're hurting at running back anyways. I don't think there's any issue with that. And I got two other players.
Those are the potential booms.
Yeah. Jaylen Warren I put on there. I mean, he looking good when he's got the ball. I mean, he's definitely got more quickness than Najee. I like Najee. I just think Warren is showing that, and they're liking what he's showing them. And they're giving him touches. So I would look at Jaylen Warren as another guy. And one that I think is
that's Pittsburgh's running back, just so everyone knows.
Yep, thank you. And another one that I think is going under the radar right now that is a good pickup, and it's a speculative pickup, so I know that. It's actually Keontae Ingram for the Arizona Cardinals. And the reason I say that is they just released Eno Benjamin like on a whim. Like they released him, and that's the backup. That's the new backup. Exactly. You're even looking at me like, who the F is he talking about?
Yeah, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, Keontae Ingram. Yeah, Eno Benjamin was dropped by the Arizona Cardinals yesterday. Yeah, they just straight dropped him. Wasn't surprising because just what, Sam, 3 weeks ago, he was a part of your four-headed monster of running backs and doing well.
Yes.
Now they dropped
against
him.
Me. It was against me.
The funny part is the Texans picked him up. So the Texans now picked him up. And the interesting part of that is Sam, who has Eno Benjamin, also has Dameon Pierce. So that's kind of the interesting part is he actually now technically has his own handcuff already. But I'm bringing that up because to me, they don't drop Eno Benjamin unless they feel confident with a backup because James Conner is a good running back. He's shown it. He had a great week this week for Case's Aces. Yeah.
But he gets hurt.
But if you've actually watched it, Keontae Ingram is starting to get more and more touches as the season has gone on. So that to me is actually a really low-key speculative ad for somebody, even Casey. Like even if you're looking at, hey, getting a handcuff for James Conner, that might be a guy to look at. And when I saw that Eno Benjamin got dropped, because Darrell Williams I don't think is back. He was their other backup. I don't think he's back. To me, that meant right away, I was like, they like this Keontae Ingram guy, and he's going to get some run. I didn't look at what he did this week, though. So let me just quickly take a look to see if he did it. No, he ran the ball one time.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So I might be crazy when I talk about it, but I don't see it any other way. If you're gonna just straight drop Eno Benjamin, unless something happened that we all don't know about that we're getting ready to know about, like that they seem to know. The only other
Yeah.
reason you do that is because you're confident in another guy that you have. So
Right.
pretty interesting move, I would say. All right,
Yeah.
let's move on then to the wide receiving room and see if
Okay.
anybody you might add if you needed a wide receiver this week.
So I'm going to be honest. I did write down some people, but um, again, I feel like in this part of the season, really the only thing I'm telling you to do with these players is either if you're in injury trouble or you're just looking for a boom week because that's all the chances that you are is but I got Gallup. um Michael Gallup is a good wide receiver and Dak Prescott likes Michael Gallup.
Yeah,
So um he's out there. You got Christian Watson. Now he is questionable. He's probably going to play from what I'm hearing, but he's a rookie wide receiver for Green Bay, and he
yeah,
just dropped a 35-point week. So maybe he doesn't even do that again. If you look at his weeks, it's been not very well. He's been
he's injured all the time.
mediocre at best.
He's always injured. He even got
Yeah.
injured in that game.
But I did. Yeah, he did. Yes. I did want to mention Marshall Jr., that Carolina's wide receiver. He's had a couple of big weeks, and I don't know what's going on with DJ Moore, but maybe they start targeting this Marshall Jr. more, especially with Baker playing. Um, so,
Yeah,
we'll see. Then I also wrote down Slayton from the
yeah, I like
Giants.
Slayton. Yep.
Again, he's a player that, he's probably going to get you 5 or 6 points, but he might get you 20. You know, he might
Yeah,
have that week where he gets you 20.
he's their downfield
And then
threat.
I was kind of shocked to see that Reynolds was out on the market again. I don't know who. I know people have kind of been flip flopping with him because he's had a rough year.
He's been
That's
injured. That's
Detroit's
why he's
wide
been
receiver.
injured. No, he's just been injured,
Okay,
man.
okay.
I'm pretty sure he hasn't
But
played the past
I
few
mean,
weeks.
he's a good wide receiver, and Goff likes him. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, he's been injured. He was injured the last 2 weeks, didn't even play. But yeah, if you look
yeah,
at it before through week 5, I mean, he was getting a lot of run, a lot of targets, and you're right,
hmm
Goff, because he comes from the LA Rams. When Goff was on the
yeah,
Rams, so was
yeah,
Reynolds, and they kind of came together. And so you're right, that chemistry has been really important for him. I would put Mac
hmm
Hollins on that list with Darren Waller on IR and Hunter Renfro on IR. I know it's tough because Las Vegas and it feels like they're just not going to do anything, but Mac Hollins, another guy, could have a boom
Again,
week
I'm a
for you.
smidge. I agree. I'm a smidge behind on that. I didn't know Renfro was on IR. Me and you just spoke about
That's
that
true.
before.
That's true.
But yeah, I did not know that. So yes, I would have put Hollins on there because he'll get some targets. He's good.
Well, you seem to know that Cooper Kupp was going to go on IR because you picked up Allen Robinson, who would have been on here. But you had picked him up this past weekend with an assumption that Cooper Kupp was going to go down. But Ben Skowronek could be another guy. I know it was odd. Like earlier in the year, I kept hearing this real white guy's name, and I was like, "Who's this real white guy?" And I'm like, they do know they have Allen Robinson who can play. That guy can ball out, but no one wants to let him
Yeah,
ball out anymore.
yeah,
So, but
yeah,
but yeah, there's a lot of wide receivers out there. Look at matchups. Try to take advantage of that. And like you said, if you
yeah,
need, especially if you need a boom,
yeah,
I think about that a lot. I like to play Thursday night players just so I can get a feel for where my team's at.
yeah,
To me, it's slightly of an advantage. So if you have Thursday night player, like I like to play those guys. But hey, like this past week, I mean, Algier only had 3.5 for Kyle, and Cordero only had 3.5 for me, so I didn't really need to do much. But if Kyle had Foreman who got 26 and I had Cordero who got 3.5, I might be looking at this free agency list saying, hey, who
yeah.
has potential to go for
Right.
20 to 30 points?
Yep.
Just they might get 2, but they
Yeah.
also might get 20, and that's
Yep.
how you kind of got to play the game a little
Yep.
bit. What
Yeah.
about tight end? Any tight ends that you see? I feel like there's actually a decent amount on there this week.
Dolchich from Denver. I mean, he's been pretty solid. Um, Komet has had a pretty couple of good weeks here, and he might be the tight end to pick up, maybe with how Chicago's been looking. That's Chicago's tight end. Conklin, is pretty solid, and I guess I don't. I guess I'm believing in the Jets for right now. I mean, they look like they're pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
maybe he continues to play pretty well because he's been pretty solid. And then I also another mention to Isaac Likely. I believe Mark Andrews is coming back this week. But again, it could be one of them things, me picking up Allen Robinson because I thought Cooper Kupp might not stay healthy.
Well, and I think Likely could be a player that just plays well. I think Andy and I were talking about this of they could start to try to run more 2 tight end sets just because they don't have Bateman, right?
Yep.
So you've taken your number 1 wide receiver out.
Yep.
Likely is an athletic guy that is playing in a position where if you can be athletic as a tight end, you've got an advantage over who's actually covering you at that point. So I think that's a good point. The only other guy to add is Foster Moreau. Again, I know I'm bringing up Las Vegas again, but when your targets have to go somewhere, and for a team that seems to be losing a lot, they're going to have to throw a lot, and therefore they got to have a guy to throw to. Now Devontae Adams is going to get most of their targets anyways, but that's why I brought up Matt Collins. This is why I'm bringing up Foster Moreau. So I think these guys could get some targets, because when I look at a tight end, I don't know what you look for, but when I look for a tight end, there's only 2 things I look for. I look for either targets, how many times is he getting thrown the ball, or I look for a good offense, because that means they're going to be in the red zone more often, in the ability to get a touchdown, because really for a lot of tight ends it's touchdown or bust, for many of them. So you want to get Dawson Knox is a good tight end to have because Buffalo is a good offense. So he might have weeks where he doesn't do much for you, but then he's got the opportunity for a touchdown every week. Whereas Cole Kmet, I think is a good point that you're making. Right now the Bears are moving the ball, they're around the end zone more. That dude has 5 touchdowns in the past 3 weeks because they're now a good offense. I think that's a perfect example of what I would say to look for in a tight end, of either somebody in a good offense or somebody that's going to get a lot of targets. That's the 2 right there.
Yeah.
So, any defenses you're looking at? I don't know. I didn't really check out much of the defense.
I mentioned it earlier. Yes, the Jets defense. I mean, I know everyone shouldn't go off of rank, but in our league, they are ranked 5th. They are the number 5 defense in fantasy football. There's more than 5 fantasy football teams, so the fact that they're out there is kind of crazy. Now, again, I mean, that's, to me, I should have them as well, but I don't. So to each their own. But and then I also wrote down the Titans. I dropped them.
Playing better.
So the Titans are I forget what I think they're like 12th or 13th.
They're on the way up.
Yeah. And I had a bye week. I was the one that dropped them. I had a bye week, and I had the Ravens. So and the Ravens have been solid. So
and another one I throw out here is the one they have at the top, which is the Bengals, and it's just because they're playing Pittsburgh, and Kenny Pickett is. I mean, I think that's what he's saying to the other side of the ball. He's telling them, pick it. Why don't you just pick it?
Right.
Because that man throws interceptions at least 1 a week, it seems, if not multiple every week. So that's always that's just a good matchup to go against. Would be that. So that's the only other one that I'd probably highlight amongst here. I mean, there's always going to be solid ones, but nothing else that I'd write home about. And another one I actually would say, and I actually did this I sent you all our daily fantasy lineup, Andy and I, who he smoked me this week in daily fantasy, but you'll notice that my defense was Pittsburgh Steelers, and they were one of the lowest defenses on there as far as how much they cost. And it was all
Yeah.
because TJ Watt came back, and they did well. They actually did well this week. So that might be another defense to look at with TJ Watt
Yeah.
back, Defensive Player of the Year back, man. I mean, that's a much different defense at that point. I mean, he's just a beast. It's kind of like
Yeah.
San Francisco without Nick Bosa. Like,
Yeah.
if Nick Bosa's not in the game for San Francisco, that's a much different defense than.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah. We did have one trade in our league this week. I think you were involved in that one. So it was you getting Dalvin Cook and Kyle getting Aaron Jones and Brandon Ayuk, which
Yeah.
actually worked out for him this week because
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk looked good. They're throwing in the
Yep.
ball, and Aaron Jones
Yep.
had one of his boom weeks.
Yep.
You also got a good into that trade. I mean, it was one of those like this week worked out well
Yeah.
for both of you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I think I'm risking a little bit there because of Dalvin Cook's injury history, but if he's healthy, I feel pretty good about it. He's going to average 20 points a game,
Yeah.
So
completely
I'm all
agree.
right.
Yeah, completely agree. Well, we have some, and I would say to that trade, I felt like, to me, the trade you made for Kelsey, to me that was, I felt like you totally won that trade. Like, that was not a great trade. Whereas this one, I would say I still feel like you won the trade because I like Dalvin Cook a lot more than Aaron Jones. But Aaron Jones shows that he can do it, man. I mean, he's got talent. That dude, he goes for the weeks that he just had. Probably 40% of the time he's going to do what he just did. It's just a struggle because 50% of the time he's not as good as you'd like him to be.
I'm gonna be honest. You say what you want, but I was not really excited about giving up Aaron Jones.
Yeah, because he can do what he just did.
Yeah. Yep.
Completely agree. Well, we got some. I don't know if you have a comment of the week. I don't get any submissions for it anymore. I think everybody's got some good.
No one mentioned anything, and I don't have anything that I remember.
Louis was hot there for a moment. I swear, I can't remember. If that
Louis had some good ones on his son. Yeah. Andy obviously always has a couple of good ones.
I think he was throwing shade on Kyle too.
I can't help but to laugh every time he mentions when he's, working, cooking for the criminals or hanging out with the convicts or whatever it is. It makes me giggle. Makes me giggle
completely. But keep up the convos. I love it. I think everybody does. And one of the things I will mention at this point though now. So I know that we're already going long here. We're approaching the hour mark actually on this podcast. So we apologize for that.
Yeah.
With this, so now we upgraded our Zoom so we can do stuff like this. And what I'd like to do is kind of moving forward on Sundays, I'm just going to open up Zoom for everybody and send you all the meeting ID and the passcode. Anybody wants to hop on, we'll have our computer on while we're watching games, and we can chat it up or hang out a bit too. So just giving it a shot and trying it out. That was another benefit to upgrading, was doing that. So if anybody, if you all are just not doing anything at that point on a Sunday and you're watching games, would love it if you open up your laptop or whatever you got, get your phone out like you do, Zach, and put it up. It'd be good to see everybody and get to actually talk rather than just text back and forth.
Sure.
But we got upcoming matchups, Zach. We got a few. I obviously highlighted one in particular because I have to, because it impacts my household. Because Allison and I face each other this week.
And I need Allison to whoop that butt.
No, you don't.
Whoop that butt.
That's true, you do, because you're behind me. I'm second. She's first. And the funny part is, if she loses, she's still first. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, that's another reason why I want her to win. She's going to be first place, so that's fine. That's fine.
Allison has already secured her spot in the playoffs, so she is already guaranteed to be in the playoffs, whereas
Yeah.
The rest of us are technically still fighting for them
Oh, yeah.
playoff spots.
Oh yeah.
And another thing I'd like to mention though is, don't forget we got the loser of this whole thing. I mean, you got a pretty rough, go of it. You're gonna have to try to sell some cookies against some Girl Scouts in whatever outfit we kind of choose, in a sense. So please be aware that you could. I mean, right now I think it's Cases Aces at 3-7, and Kyle, D'Aquarius Grapefruit at 3-7. Those are the two bottom rung teams. So you two, you're battling for some Girl Scouting at this point. But that's one. Second thing is, even if you don't make the playoffs and you're in the consolation bracket, because I think we have a 6-team playoff, and then the consolation bracket is a 4-team. In the consolation bracket, like if you win that, you still get, I believe it's $30. So it's not like it's nothing. So even if I don't make the playoffs, hey, we're still playing. Like you're still playing for some money at that point. So just be aware that nobody is ever over, even if you feel like it at times. Like you can win weekly high point. We still have 4 more weeks to go of that.
Yeah.
For that piece. And like I said, the consolation bracket side of it, I think there's still money involved in that. And just throwing it out there to let people know, like, even if you feel like shit, I'm fucking 3-7. I feel like, you don't want to sell Girl Scout cookies or sell cookies against them, and you want to win some money. So think about that. But yeah, Allison and I have a matchup this week.
I noted that.
I'm definitely worried. She's got when we were talking about teams that I'm envious of, hers is one of them, because she's got, whatever you all want to feel about Ezekiel Elliott, he's still an above average running back, and I'd play him. I got leagues where I wanted to play him, but he was injured. With some good matchups. So I mean, he's like her worst running back. Otherwise, she's got great running backs, which is fucking upsetting. So she's got 5 solid RBs. That's worrisome. I will say this week, the only lucky part is that Jalen Waddle and Christian Kirk are both out for her. So she's got to find that wide receiver too. So that's because Drake London,
she'll have that by the end of the night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the trade you were talking about before?
Yes.
You might.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
She said, "Don't go backing out on her."
I told her we had a deal.
And she's in for it. And oh my god. Oh, I'll find out here. Then she might actually have
I was asking a lot of questions about it, but it's what she wanted, so I'm gonna be nice and do it.
Okay. Well, I know that she had a predicament.
This was her trade.
No, I know she had a predicament that with the running backs, because I think otherwise she's gonna have to drop one. She basically got lucky because Zeke went out and she was able to just flip flop him and Elijah Mitchell, so she didn't have to lose a running back at that point. Because otherwise she's gonna have to drop somebody. Otherwise, our league was about to get an Ezekiel Elliott or an Elijah Mitchell on in free agency, and that would have been real nice. For these, but it sounds like that's not happening, and I can already tell what's about to happen. So she's found her wide receiver 2. It takes away my note on that. For me,
to be fair, it does make my team weaker in wide receiver though. Again, so
okay, fine, yeah, that's true. But you at least solve your bench issue, it sounds like. So anyways,
possibly.
I have not solved that. I actually am still struggling because ever since I made my trades, Ken Walker's out this week.
Your guys' projections are pretty close, except she doesn't even have a tight end in right now.
She doesn't have a wide receiver in. That's what, or something. Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but
it's tight end right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
well, then that's the problem. The problem isn't that. The problem is she doesn't have a tight end, and I think she probably has. I don't know, but we were close in projection. But I saw that she was missing a player. And
she's probably got some ideas about who she's picking up.
Yeah, she probably does. So whatever. I'm over it. I don't know what to do with
Yeah,
Swift
but
these days, but he'll play.
yeah, I noted some games as well. You got dad and son playing each other
Yeah,
with Dequarius and Lichos.
and that's an important
That'll
game
be a fun
because
matchup, and they
if
are
Kyle
literally
wins,
projected the exact same amount of points, 103.
well, yeah, but
So that'll be interesting.
if Kyle wins, they're tied in record at
That
that
is
point.
correct. And if Kyle wins, they're tied in record. Now, all I'm going to say is maybe, you know, Kyle gets a good week from the players he got traded.
Sure, sure, that's true. I mean, he's got a decent team at this point, so hopefully he
And I did
does.
notate, obviously, I don't think that it's going to be like that, but I'm projected to smash Casey. So I don't know
Yeah, I saw
why
that
it's
too.
such a huge I don't know why that projection
Well,
is such a humongous discrepancy.
because
It's got me projected for the most points in the league this week by like 15 more points than everybody else or something.
well, this past week, Allison was projected to get 140 some, like 140 something, which was the highest I've seen.
I think I lost you.
No, I can hear you. I don't know. No, you're there.
There we go. There we go.
But no, you're
Okay.
right. No, so I noted that, but I think it's because they still had Cooper Cup in there, and Cooper Cup is 0 points. Hello?
Yeah. Okay. Here I'm back, I think.
Okay, I think so as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keeps,
Sorry.
no, you're fine. It keeps going in and out. But yeah, Cooper Cup is going to be out, so he's worth 0 points. So that's hurting their projection right now. But to go back to Kyle and Louis, I noticed that Louis is taking the 4 halfback approach. So he's playing the 4 HBs, whereas Kyle has putting out a more balanced lineup of 3 halfbacks and 3 wide receivers. So we'll see how that goes. And some of that could just be due to necessity, in general, because both of them have 3 or 4 guys on bye this week. So that's a tough one.
Yeah. Well, and another one I like is Bob and Sam. So their projections is like 10 points apart, but Bob doesn't have a player in right now. So that could be a real close. So I think we'll have a couple of, I think your and Allison's and Bob and Sam's matchups this week are going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, and Bob has a few ways to go with it too, because he's basically looks like he's trying to figure out that flex spot potentially. And if Gus Edwards plays, he may be a good fit for it. But Rondale Moore's been great, and Rondale Moore he has on his bench, and Rondale Moore is more valuable in a full PPR point per reception league, whereas ours is half. But still, like, that's a lot, and he could also even go James Robinson. I may not choose that route, but the Jets like to run the ball and they want to run the ball. So who knows what J Rob's going to do this week? But Bob's got a few options there. And Sam, another guy with depth. I mean, good wide receiver depth right now, because if Keenan Allen comes back this week, I mean, that gives him 5 viable wide receivers, because even Sutton right now, if Judy's out, Sutton's going to get all the targets, and that's still valuable at that point. So there's some value there on Sam's roster as well. So a couple they
I would also notate I agree with that. And if anyone's looking for wide receivers, you may offer Sam a trade. Maybe he trades one, because he does have a nice slot of receivers.
Yeah. And who knows what he wants back, for that, because I think he's got a pretty solid team. But for me, it's actually, here's the funny part, man. I almost look at Bob. Bob's got 2 good quarterbacks right now. He has Jalen Hurts and Tua. And if I'm honest, I think that's where Sam could get better, is that quarterback. I mean, he's got Kirk Cousins, and I can't remember who was on the bench. Oh, and Jacoby Brissett. Let's just say that he'd love to have a Tua Tagovailoa on his team. However, if I'm Bob, I'm not trading him this week. I can't do that.
Right.
But that actually does get me thinking, since we're talking trade here. I apologize to keep this going even longer, but I want to check on our trade deadline. So for those, we've been trading a good amount, which is awesome.
Soon. I'm pretty sure it was week 12, I think.
It's The 30th. So the last time you can trade is November 30th by 11 a.m. on 11:30. So
Yeah.
technically by like next we'll just say the Tuesday after Thanksgiving would probably be your best bet of making
Yeah.
your final trade. You could make one the
Yeah.
Wednesday morning after, but we'll just say that Tuesday would be your best
Right.
bet at that point.
I will apologize for the length of time as well. We had some distractions though, to be fair too. So let's be fair about that.
But yeah, Tage is always a good distraction too. So
That's absolutely correct.
That's
That's absolutely
yeah.
correct.
But even your matchup with Casey, like they have Cup going on IR, that hurts badly. That's like their number one player. He's puts up a lot of points. That's the base of their team. And I think you're right. Like with your starting lineup, if you guys stay healthy, you got Dalvin Cook now, you got Kelsey now to go along with Mahomes and a good running back core. I think you're going to be solid. So that one, I think you'll take running away. If I'm honest with you, the other one that we didn't touch on was Andy versus Tyler. So they play each other this week. Tyler's on a bit of a skid, man. He's lost 3 in a row. So he's bumming a little bit there. But he's got 4 players on bye as well. And the rough part is he has Mike Evans and Raheem Mostert both on bye, and I think that's going to hurt him this week.
Yeah. Yeah. He made some trades that maybe he shouldn't have made. And I'll agree. One of them might have been with me. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that trade. Yes, Travis Kelce has paid off for me. Yes, but I'm pretty sure he's gotten some benefit out of it too, because Mostert's done well still.
Yeah.
So
Mostert did well.
Then, what else did I give him? I know Taysom Hill was a disappointment. I know that was part of it, but I gave him a third. I gave him a third too.
Yeah, I can't remember if he had a drop back. Oh, Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake could be good, but he's on bye. He was on bye, and he actually had a good game.
And he had a good game, and then he was on bye.
Yep. So no, I don't. It's funny. Like to me, a lot of times people talk about getting the best player in the trade. If you got the best player, then you won the trade, and that's not always the case because you do need to go for depth at times. And I know that's what he was going for, and he got it. The tough part for him is Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson stepping into that backfield actually just hurts Raheem Mostert's upside, which is the tough part. And for Kenyon Drake, the tough part is he's got running backs coming back, that are coming back onto the team. So that could hurt him, but he's shown flashes and he could be good. But again, it's just tough to say whether or not that's going to pan out for him. But some good matchups this week.
Yeah.
It's we're getting down to that crunch time. At this point, nobody's out of it yet, which is the best part. Literally, nobody's out of it. You can, for Kyle and Casey, Samacy, y'all are still in it because there's going to be at least 1 or 2 7-7 teams that are in the playoffs at least, right? I think just how it works. There's going to have to be at least 2. So if y'all went out, like you're still in it. So it's kind of the cool part is nobody's out of it at this point. Whereas I have some, not myself quite yet, but in one league I'm pretty close. I only got 3 wins in one league, so I'm borderline, but. Got some people in other leagues that are 1-9 at this point. They can't make the playoffs at that point. So we don't got anybody there, which is good. But keep up the good work, everybody. Keep grinding away at this whole thing. Get some trades going. Get some good pickups. Remember, your waivers need to be run tonight, so make sure you put in your claims tonight for free agents that you might like, and get those in. Zach, thank you for hopping on again in short notice.
No problem.
Kind of gave you a quick notice.
For having me.
Sounds like we're gonna have some newbies on the next couple of weeks, which would be nice.
Wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
So probably have Bob on next week. That's my goal since his bowling league ain't bowling. We'll get him on next week. I will admit I'll be pretty friggin' tired because working at a bakery and the week of Thanksgiving is a huge week. So I'm usually not even back home until 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night after being there at 3 or 4 in the morning. So it'll be long days, but I'll still be on. So we'll still be grinding away. But thanks again, Zach.
No problem.
Love you.
Love you.
And we will be chatting it up here soon. And good luck, everybody, as part of the fam. Hope you get to watch this whole thing and you don't fall asleep beforehand.
Yeah, not kidding.
All right. Love you all. Take care of yourselves in the meantime, folks.